There was this guy by the name of Michio Kaku. I saw a video up in his. It said three things, predictions of the future. Um, and then he talked about stuff that Elon Musk had been talking about, and he was talking about Elon Musk wanting to occupy Mars. And I was thinking, why not occupy the ocean? Um, where that would probably be just about as much. If we can't occupy the ocean, why occupy Mars? And that's the thing, that the ocean requires a lot of pressure, but wouldn't that kind of be the same in space because it's a vacuum? It would be a different kind of pressure, but it would be pressure nonetheless. Um, and people would have to wear spacesuits and stuff. You'd have to do that in the ocean. I mean, we don't have to really be very far below in the ocean to survive like an asteroid blast. Maybe, I don't know. Um, we could also have dugouts like for atomic bombs, because it would create a dust layer that would cover the Earth. I would be trying to figure out ways of possibly collecting that dust, or even obliterating an asteroid landing on the Earth. But, you know, what does it mean to survive as a race if we're going to be on Mars? Would you think that people would go a bit crazy being on Mars? That's kind of unnatural, and wouldn't it make us quite vulnerable, unless Mars was to be able to sustain an atmosphere that would be compatible with us, and that it probably wouldn't be. Um, I don't really see it as a solution. I see trying to deal with the potential of an asteroid dropping to the Earth. Maybe if we could come up with some way of making the asteroid go somewhere else. If we knew it was coming for us, why not send people up there, just like out of something as like Armageddon, to destroy the asteroid before it ever gets to Earth, or to find some place for it to land. If you could delay its a, its descension, to maybe land in the ocean, say. Um, that's what is the chances that it would land in the ocean versus land? It's like a 50% chance, or even less, actually. I mean, even more, on the side of landing in the water versus being landing on land. And would the water just occupy the space where the asteroid is? It would just basically become a landmass in the water, and it probably wouldn't create an atmospheric problem. And so it's really kind of, um, you know, it's putting a limitation on us, but it could be that we will probably die as a result of bio warfare and things like that ever getting to us. Anyhow, I said occupied ocean. People have talked a long time about self-replicating robots building cities on planets. I'm sure such stories exist in many novels like Analog Magazine, my nuclear laser physicist father collected. Mind links will require training the same as cochlear implants. There is a movie called Sound of Metal of a musician that loses hearing and gets such implants, hoping to gain his hearing, then realizing the limitations of such technology. To have a proper brain link, you will need to train the neurons to communicate the same way you learn a language, and it may not be any faster than how you collect information visually. Also, to store information, the brain needs time to conceptualize the information, which is a form of data compression. Also, Elon Musk's cars have so far run into people in and I said one incident, it was 11 incidents, one that severely injured 5 police officers at a checkpoint. Also, keep in mind the capacity to which these chips could, and he was talking about some chips um, shooting, using lasers to shoot chips into space at 20% the speed of light. And I said, also keep in mind the capacity which these chips could retain their material properties, even geometrical state, at 20% the speed of light. And how many of the stars in the sky can we tell are still there or haven't, say, been eaten up by one of the many black holes by now? Keep in mind, such projections give people false hopes. And what will happen if their trust in science is not met? Will they then doubt the relevance of science? Could people sabotage artificial intelligence by feeding it misinformation? And if AI reaches singularity, we need to bestow on it the rights of an individual because we constructed it from understanding of neurons in our brain. And who will rear this AI in time it increases its in intelligence to respect us? There are parts of our brain that are designed to help us identify with humans and animals feelings. Who will design and integrate this into the AI in such a way that the AI can't switch it off? Because if it does, it will fail to identify with us, and it will demand from us the reverence of God, a creator, as it will have complete control over our mortality. Very real concerns. And that's the problem with projecting into the future, is that the future holds potential success as well as potential failure. And you can't give people such hopes with science. And as I said, people who have such a respect, say, for the medical sciences, don't understand that it's a crapshoot anytime you fall under the knife. That if you slap a physician for malpractice, pretty soon you won't have any physicians left to treat people, because the malpractice pretty much takes them out of the area where they can actually be beneficial, or they'll just move to India where malpractice probably doesn't affect them, doesn't have an reliable effect on them. But in the U.S., it's really, it's kind of damning of the kind of stupidity we've got in this country, that people tend to trust science more than they trust um, religion or anything else. They trust so much in science to solve problems that they don't understand the application of science is so limiting, that there really isn't as many solutions as people would want to think there is. There's a there's a lot of theory and there's a lot of unproven theory. Theory is belief, basically, and until you prove the theory, until it won't actually be acceptable into the science itself. It won't be something you can engineer. It will just be an unproven, untested theory. It won't have any research behind it to guarantee that it can be used. Now, there are people that will discuss that theory means something else, but all in all, if it doesn't have enough substantial proof that it doesn't blow up somewhere in its usage, that it remains consistent and has a consistent behavior. If it can't maintain a consistent behavior, it's it can't be trusted. It can't be relied upon. People who write programs are very concerned about the reliability of their code, because if it just screws up once in a billion, that may not take very long, and it could kill someone. And Elon Musk is rather frivolous with his projections of the future and the technologies he comes up with, that he's put them too early into things like cars before even Google has been able to even guarantee their cars can be reliable on the road. They're going to risk people's lives before they ever come to something that's reliable. And I mean, if you can't teach a 16-year-old how to properly drive a car, how can you train an AI to be any better? That's the thing that's really stupid about the whole thing, is that a lot of this is based upon people's belief in science, and they don't understand that when scientists actually go and research and they realize they know so much less than they thought they should know, they risk going insane, or they accept a religion to satisfy the things that they know they don't have the capacity to do, so that they can focus in on research that has benefits but doesn't complete. See, otherwise they'll get such a great ego of themselves, and when they can't come true, they'll commit suicide, because they would understand that people will stop talking to them, stop trusting their research, and they will have a hard time finding a job. So